Rent's up 80%. Time to grow up. That's what my mom said. Right in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner. Fork still halfway to my mouth. She didn't say it softly or kindly. She said it like a punchline. And everyone laughed. Except me. My name is Danielle. And from wherever you're watching this, stay with me. Because I have one question. Have you ever built a whole house for your family, only to be handed the receipt like a stranger renting a room? I spent 3 years of my life working 80-hour weeks to keep their dreams alive. Not mine. I was the reason our bakery survived the pandemic. The reason Dad didn't lose the lease. The reason my little sister didn't have to drop out of college. I missed birthdays. Skipped trips. Paid off $19,000 in back taxes they ignored. I handled licensing, payroll, supplier drama, late-night inventory runs. And not once, not even once, did anyone say thank you. But when my sister, Emily, walked in late with perfectly curled hair and zero obligations, Mom raised her glass like we were at a royal coronation. To our golden girl, she beamed, who just got her first brand new car. Everyone clapped. A few gasped. I didn't. Because I already knew. I had seen the transaction 2 days ago, on the business account. $62,000 to Lexus of Pasadena. But when I asked Dad about it, he said it was for business use. Apparently, Emily's personal comfort was the business. I cleared the dishes, wiped the counters, took out the trash. And then I went upstairs, locked my bedroom door, and opened my laptop. Logged into the business banking accounts, and just froze them. All of them.
Main.
Payroll. Vendor. Emergency. Retirement.
Locked. Secured. Gone.
I didn't say a word. The next morning, the first scream came from downstairs. Mom, staring at her tablet. Why is the card declined? Then Dad yelling from the bakery office. I can't pay the suppliers. It says restricted by account owner. What the hell does that mean? I walked downstairs with my mug of tea and said, calmly, it means the person who saved your legacy is done being used like a doormat. They froze. Mom blinked. You don't own the business. I smiled. That's where you're wrong. Legally, I do. You made me partner in writing when I saved you from bankruptcy. You remember that, right? She went pale. Dad looked like he'd been punched. But I wasn't done. As of 2 a.m., I've removed all authorized users.
I've also notified the CPA.
The next quarterly taxes are on you. And your golden girl's Lexus? She can return it or start making payments herself. Emily finally woke up and stumbled into the kitchen, confused. Wait, what is happening? I turned to her. Your ride just got downgraded. They exploded.
But I didn't yell.
Didn't flinch. I just handed over 3 folders. One for each of them. Inside, a detailed log of every dollar I put in. Every unpaid hour. Every document proving they'd signed it all away without reading, trusting me to clean up their mess. Dad tried to threaten me. Mom cried. Emily threw her phone. And I walked out the front door without a single bag. Because I had already moved everything into storage the night before. They thought I'd never leave. They thought they'd broken me. But what happened next? Made them crumble. By noon, they were calling every 10 minutes. Blocked numbers.
Private.
My dad even tried my old work extension. I didn't pick up. I was at a cozy little rental an hour away, key already in hand, fridge stocked, peace humming from the silence. I sat on the floor, opened a carton of lo mein, and watched the text messages pile up. This is outrageous. You're punishing your own family? Dad, this is a betrayal. We trusted you. Emily, how dare you make me look stupid? Do you know what people are saying? There it was. Not regret. Not apology. Just image panic. 3 days passed before they realized I wasn't bluffing. That's when the real scrambling began. Vendors started pulling out. Suppliers paused shipments. The business email, which I still had admin access to, was flooded with confusion. One message from a bakery supplier caught my eye. Hi Danielle, we've always loved working with you. Let us know when things are back on track. Until then, we'll hold off. That one stung. because I had loved working with them too. I didn't want the business to fail. I just wanted them to stop treating me like I was the backup plan to their bad decisions. Then came the twist. A letter. Delivered by courier. My father's official notice of removal, an attempt to strip me of partnership rights. Except it was laughable, because the documents they signed when I bailed them out couldn't be undone without my consent. He hadn't read the fine print. In exchange for assumption of all outstanding debts, the clause read, Danielle Green shall retain sole veto power over financial decisions and corporate dissolution. They hadn't even bothered to have a lawyer check it. They were too eager for rescue, and I never forgot it. So, I replied with a document of my own. Not from a place of pettiness, but precision. Effective immediately, it read, I'm placing the family business on indefinite hiatus, pending formal audit. All operations are to cease, and no funds may be disbursed from any business account. Attempts to circumvent will be met with legal response. I signed it, notarized, sent it back through the same courier. That night, Emily posted a cryptic Instagram story. Nothing hurts more than betrayal from blood. With a photo of her Lexus parked in front of a repair shop. I didn't respond. Instead, I focused on my own next move. Because while they were busy crying over consequences, I was building something new. I took a meeting with a local cafe chain looking to expand. They needed a general manager. Someone with operations experience. I didn't tell them everything. Just enough. They offered me the job on the spot. Better pay. No family drama. And most importantly, respect. A week after Thanksgiving, I passed by the old bakery on a quiet afternoon.
Closed.
Lights off. Windows dusty. A sign taped to the door. Closed for renovation. Reopening soon. But I knew the truth. There were no renovations. No reopening. Only silence. The same kind of silence I had lived with every day under their roof, smiling through exhaustion, pushing through burnout, and waiting for them to finally see me. They never did.
But now?
Now, they were finally seeing something. The consequences of thinking I was disposable. And I had only just begun. They say rock bottom teaches you who people really are. And within 2 weeks of me freezing the accounts, my parents were free-falling. Emily had maxed out her emergency credit card trying to maintain appearances. She posted another cryptic selfie with the caption, Some people forget who gave them their first shoes. I rolled my eyes. Those shoes? I bought them. When she wrecked her first car and Mom cried, You can't let your sister walk to class in old sneakers. So I didn't. I paid. Like I always had. On the 15th day, Dad finally cracked. He called from a blocked number. Danielle, we need to talk. I said nothing. You've made your point, but you're not being fair. You're punishing the whole family. I almost laughed. You punished me for 3 years in silence. I missed holidays. Paid your debts. Watched Emily get luxury while I slept 4 hours a night. I cooked your dinners and signed your checks. And all I got was grow up? At the Thanksgiving table? His voice trembled. You always were the responsible one. I let that hang in the air, then replied. And that's exactly why I walked away. The next morning, I got a message from Sandra, the landlord who owned the strip where the bakery sat. Hi Danielle. Noticed the bakery's still closed. Just wanted to ask, are you interested in subletting the space? We have another buyer lined up. I paused. It was time. Time to stop mourning what I built for them and build something for me. I scheduled a visit. Walked back into that space I had once poured my whole soul into. The scent of cinnamon still clung to the walls. My old mixer was still there. Unplugged. Forgotten.
But I stood taller this time.
Because this space would no longer carry the weight of unpaid labor and unspoken hurt. That same afternoon, I did something unexpected. I texted Emily. If you want your car, pay the balance. You have 7 days before it gets repossessed. Not a threat. Just the paperwork timeline. Her reply? You're not family. You're a monster. And for once, I didn't cry. Because monsters don't work 80-hour weeks to put food on the table. Monsters don't clean vomit off bakery floors or donate every cent of their bonus to stop the bakery from closing. I wasn't a monster. I was just done being used. On day 18, Dad tried one last move. He called a family friend, Mr. Jenkins, a retired accountant I adored growing up. Tried to guilt him into convincing me to be reasonable. But Jenkins? He called me instead. Danielle, I know you're hurt, but I just want to say you did everything right. I saw those ledgers. They would have sunk without you. And now that you're gone, they're finally seeing it. Let them stew. You earned your distance. I almost cried. Almost. But I'd cried too long.
Now?
I was choosing clarity. That night, I started drafting my new business plan.
Not for them.
Not with their name. Just mine. No more Green Family Bakery. I named it Reclaimed. Because that's what I was doing, reclaiming my time, my talent, my power. I opened a blank page and wrote the first words in bold. This time, I rise alone. I signed the new lease on a rainy Wednesday. No family name. No shared paperwork. No one else's fingerprints. Just mine. The space that once held their dreams, dusty, lifeless, was about to be reborn with something sharper. Something mine. Reclaimed. That's what the sign would say. Simple. Unapologetic. A reminder that even if they threw me away, I never stopped being worth something. My contractor, Mariah, walked the space with me. This used to be a bakery? She asked, stepping over a broken stool.
Used to be a war zone, I said.
Now it'll be a sanctuary. She smiled. Let's build it. And we did. Meanwhile, back at the house, the panic had turned to paranoia. Mom left voicemails every night now, some angry, some pitiful. We didn't mean to hurt you, Danielle. You're still our daughter. But this has gone too far. Dad sent one long message about legacy and how we can fix this. Fix it?
No.
You don't fix shattered glass by stepping harder. You sweep it out. Start over. And that's exactly what I was doing. 3 weeks into renovations, I finally removed the last relic from the old bakery. A picture of the founding family, framed in gold, hung near the register. I looked at it for a long time. Mom with her perfect pearls. Dad in his apron, proud. Emily posing like she'd ever cleaned a baking sheet.
And me.
In the corner.
Exhausted.
Smiling anyway. I took it off the wall, shattered the frame, and left the glass behind. Then I tossed the photo in the dumpster. And didn't look back. Word spread fast in our neighborhood. The family that once acted like royalty had been cut off. Vendors started calling me, asking if I needed anything. Apparently, once people found out I was the one who kept the business alive all those years, the loyalty shifted. One bakery down the block even sent me a congratulations cake when the new signage went up.
It said,
"To the real boss. Welcome back." Then came the press request. A local small business podcast emailed me. "We'd love to interview you about your journey, from burnout to boldness." I almost said no. Then I thought about the women watching. The daughters who give everything and get crumbs. The responsible ones who clean up messes while everyone else gets medals. And I said yes. We filmed in the new space, the counters still half-tiled, the espresso machine not even hooked up yet. But when they asked, what changed? I didn't flinch. The moment I realized I wasn't obligated to suffer just because it was called love. I spoke about labor, respect, emotional theft, quiet revenge. The episode went viral. 2 days later, I got a letter, handwritten, from Mom. We watched her interview.
I didn't know you felt that way. I'm sorry.
You'll always be welcome here. I didn't write back. Because welcome doesn't mean much when you've already been shown the door. Opening day was coming. The air smelled like fresh paint and cardamom. And for the first time, my name wasn't a footnote in someone else's dream. It was the title, the author, the entire damn book. Next to the register, I placed a small plaque. Built by the one they underestimated. I opened the doors to Reclaimed on a Saturday morning. There was no ribbon-cutting ceremony. No overpriced PR campaign. No fake family unity selfie posted for likes. Just me, wearing an apron I actually liked, with real sunlight pouring through the windows, not fluorescent ceiling bulbs, not Dad's shadow looming over every tray of croissants. People came. Not because of loyalty to the green name, but because they remembered me. The way I used to remember everyone's coffee orders. The way I made sure every almond loaf was wrapped just right. And maybe, just maybe, because they'd heard what I'd walked away from and were curious what I'd walked into. 2 hours in, Mariah nudged me. Danielle? There's someone outside. I looked up. It was Emily. Standing there in a $1,200 coat she probably hadn't finished paying off. Her makeup perfect. Her pride cracked. She walked in, ignoring the people browsing the pastry shelf, and stared me down like she owned oxygen. "You really did it," she said. "Yeah," I replied, turning to wipe down the counter. "I really did. You could have helped us. Mom's been crying every night. She cried when I bought you those tires, too. Didn't stop her from laughing when they gave you the Lexus." Emily crossed her arms. "You're really going to punish all of us forever?" I looked her dead in the eye. "I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just not volunteering for your games anymore. You're making us look bad."
No.
"You did that. I'm just not covering it up anymore." She left in silence, but not before pausing at the tip jar. She looked at the sign taped to it. "Tips go to the woman who used to clean the ovens and cry in them." She didn't drop in $1.
Didn't need to.
Her silence was enough. That night, I stayed late. Alone. Counting receipts, wiping counters, sipping cold chamomile tea. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel empty. Didn't feel like I had to chase their approval. I wasn't the villain. I was the survivor. The builder. The woman who rebuilt her world brick by damn brick, while the people who broke her sat at home wondering why their meal ticket stopped delivering. The next morning, I got a message from an old high school friend, Monica.
She said, "Danielle,
I saw your bakery. And your interview." I cried. "I've been stuck helping my family run our restaurant for 6 years. No pay, no life. But you made me believe there's another way. Thank you." That message? Worth more than every fake "we're proud of you" I ever begged my family to say. 3 weeks into opening, I found a letter in the mail. Official envelope. Legal watermark. It was from the Green Family Corporation. Inside, a desperate attempt to negotiate. Shared branding rights. Joint ownership. Restoring legacy. I smiled. They still didn't get it. This wasn't about legacy. This was about liberation. So I wrote one line back, printed it in bold, and mailed it without a return address. Some things don't need restoring. They needed to be burned down. They gave the Lexus back. They listed the house. But the one thing they couldn't repossess?
Me.
And the peace I had finally bought, not with their love, but with my absence from it. By the end of the first month, the bakery was thriving. We didn't just break even, we broke through. Lines curled outside on Saturdays. Local influencers tagged us in reels. Even the neighborhood council invited me to speak at their Women in Business event. But what I noticed most?
The peace.
The way no one barged into my office screaming about a missing shipment. No voice demanding, "Where's the spreadsheet?" No Emily asking for just a little transfer. And absolutely no one telling me I was too emotional to run things alone. I was alone, and it was glorious. Then came the silence. For my family, the daily guilt text stopped. The calls ceased. No holiday invites. No Merry Christmas. No, we miss you. Just nothing. At first, it stung. But then I realized something. The quiet wasn't loneliness. It was healing. A month later, I was baking early one morning, sleeves rolled, face powdered with flour, when the bell above the bakery door chimed. It was a woman I didn't recognize. Dressed well, but with tired eyes. She looked around and said, "You're Danielle Green?" I nodded. "I used to work for your parents. I was the cleaner for the bakery. They fired me when I got sick and asked for a day off." My heart clenched. "They said you knew," she added softly. I stared at her. "I didn't. I swear." She smiled gently. I believe you. I poured her a coffee. On the house. And I promised myself, this place will never run on silence and exploitation. Later that night, I pulled out an old journal from under my bed. The one I used to hide between recipe notes and broken sleep. Page after page of frustration. Things I couldn't say out loud back then.
But now?
I wrote something new. They used me like a wall, stable, silent, holding up everyone else's weight. But I was never just a wall. I was the foundation. And they forgot that when the foundation walks away, the whole house starts to crumble. I closed the journal, lit a candle, let the words settle. Weeks passed. Winter melted into spring. And then, out of nowhere, a knock on the bakery's back door. I opened it. It was my mother. Gray streaks in her hair now. Eyes not cruel, just tired. She didn't say hi. She just looked past me, into the warmth of the kitchen, and asked quietly, "Is this really all yours?" I nodded once. She took a shaky breath. "We lost the house. Emily moved in with friends. Your father doesn't say much anymore." I waited. "We didn't come here to ask for anything. I wanted to see what you built. I wanted to understand." I stepped outside, shut the door behind me, and faced her. "Understand what, exactly?" "How we lost you." I looked her dead in the eyes. "You didn't lose me. You gave me away every single time you laughed at my exhaustion, dismissed my effort, and praised the ones who did nothing." She blinked.
Didn't deny it. Didn't cry.
Didn't beg. Just nodded. "I'm sorry." I nodded back. "But I didn't say I forgive you. Because sometimes silence is more powerful. Sometimes the absence of "it's okay" is what makes the apology matter." She turned and walked away. Didn't look back. And I walked back inside, flipped the open sign to face the street, and greeted my next customer with a smile that was mine, not earned through someone else's approval. One morning, an old customer from the Green family bakery days stepped inside. She looked around like she wasn't sure if she was allowed to be impressed. "Didn't this place used to be?" I smiled. "It used to be theirs. Now it's mine." She walked up slowly, like she needed to feel it for herself. "Funny. It even smells different." Because it was. Different. The flour was the same, the sugar too, but the air wasn't thick with resentment anymore. It was warm.
Proud. Free.
The very next week, a food critic visited. Unannounced. He ordered the orange blossom brioche and a lavender espresso, sat alone in the corner, took notes. Didn't say a word. The article came out 2 days later. Reclaimed is what happens when a woman turns survival into softness and still makes it sharp enough to cut through everything that tried to bury her. That line? It broke me. In a good way. Because for the first time, someone saw the work behind the work. Not just the glaze or the garnish, but the blood that went into building something real after being discarded by the very people who were supposed to protect me. Then came a letter. This time, not from my parents, but from a foundation. The Westfield Women's Leadership Grant. I had applied half-heartedly months ago, back when I wasn't sure I'd make it to the next week. Turns out, not only did I qualify, they chose me as the face of their next campaign. At the photo shoot, the director asked me to bring something personal. I brought the flour-stained apron with my initials stitched inside, a gift I once made myself when no one remembered my birthday. She took one look at it and said, "That's your cover shot. Not the new one with branding. Not something flashy. Just me, worn and real and rising." That same night, I passed by the old house. Not on purpose. Just one of those moments where the GPS rerouted me through memory lane. It was dark. Empty. For sale sign crooked. Windows cracked. The Lexus gone. The porch light that used to burn all night like a beacon?
Out.
And you know what? I didn't feel rage. I didn't feel triumph. I felt distance. Like watching a movie I no longer had a role in. Inside my car, I pulled out my phone. Opened an email draft I'd been writing for months, one addressed to both Mom and Dad. But I didn't hit send. Because the best closure isn't a dramatic monologue. It's silence. It's success they can't take credit for. It's your name on a marquee, where there's used to be. And knowing you didn't inherit it, you earned it. One last twist, though. An offer. From a publishing house. They'd read the interview, visited the bakery, tasted the story in every bite. We want you to write your story.
A book.
Title it whatever you want. I didn't hesitate. I typed 2 words. Reclaimed. The taste of my own name. That night, I sat by the bakery window after closing. No customers. No orders. Just me, holding a cup of tea with both hands, staring at the sign glowing softly on the glass. My reflection looked back at me. Not the exhausted girl from the Thanksgiving table. Not the ghost who floated through the family shadow. But a woman who finally tasted what she'd been missing. Respect.
Peace.
Her damn self. 6 months after opening, Reclaimed wasn't just a bakery anymore. It was a movement. College students came in just to sit near the open kitchen, hoping some of the quiet strength in the air would stick to their skin. Local papers started calling it a healing house built with flour and fire. But the part that got me? The letters.
Dozens of them.
From women who'd been silenced, sidelined, used. They wrote things like, I left my parents' house yesterday after reading your article. My sister never apologized, but I forgave myself. Because of you. I started my own candle business. Guess what I named it? Reclaimed Light. And then came the call I never saw coming. From Emily. Blocked number. But her voice? Still coded in honey and habit. Danielle, they want to sell the Green family name. The business.
The rights.
Everything. I didn't respond. They need your signature. Technically, you were part owner. Silent, but on the paperwork from way back.
Ah.
So now they remembered my name. What do you want? I asked.
She paused.
Maybe closure? I smiled. Closure doesn't need contracts. It needs courage. Then I hung up and blocked the number again. Later that night, I did go to the lawyer's office. But instead of fighting over ownership, I surrendered my rights. Legally severed ties to the Green family business. It wasn't weakness. It was power. Because when you don't want the crown anymore, no one can force you to kneel. A week after that, a woman walked into the bakery.
Middle-aged.
Warm smile. Sharp eyes. She introduced herself as a rep for a regional grocer. We'd like to carry your goods. Lavender pound cake. Cardamom scones. Whatever you recommend. She paused. Also, would you be interested in teaching a workshop? A workshop.
Me.
The family joke, according to Mom. The one who wasn't worthy of a Lexus or a compliment. Now being asked to teach. I hosted my first workshop a month later. 10 women showed up. Nervous. Tired. Soft-spoken. I opened with just one sentence. No one here is a burden. You're not too much. You're not a mistake. You're a beginning. They cried. I cried too. But we still baked the hell out of some ginger cakes. Last week, someone stopped me on the street. Teenage girl. Hoodie. Big eyes. She held out her phone and said, Are you the bakery woman? The one whose parents ditched her? I laughed. Something like that. She smiled. You're kind of famous. In a good way. I asked her name. Taylor. I told her she had the name of a storm, and she smiled wider. That night, I finally walked into my home, and looked around. No inherited furniture. No guilt-laced wallpaper. Just sunlight on the counter. A warm mug on the table. Peace that didn't need permission. And a message from the publisher. Your memoir is trending. We need more copies. Congratulations, author. I didn't cry. I just whispered into the quiet. You did good, Danielle. You really did. At the next Women in Business Gala, they handed me an award.
Glass.
Elegant.
Heavy.
It read, Reclaimed, for turning silence into story, and story into strength. I gave a short speech. No bitterness. No shame. Just truth. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's peace. It's having nothing to prove. It's walking away and never looking back because you don't need to. You already won. And the whole room stood up,
Clapping.
not for the girl they used to overlook, but for the woman no one could ignore anymore.